Hey guys, this is Mark.
And this is Kevin.
And we're here with Go to the Campus with Crew, where we talk about how to reach teenagers for Christ on a local high school campus.
Mark, I've been looking forward to this one for a while because today we're not going to be talking about necessarily on the campus. We're going to be talking about how to reach students from a virtual perspective.
Yes, it is a new day. We've had some changes in our society. The coronavirus has hit, and all of a sudden everything's turned upside down. Whether you're working a job that in an office or whether you're doing ministry with teenagers, things have changed significantly in the way you take care of business.
You know, I had a discipler who kept pounding in my head at an early age in my walk with Christ. As we thought about doing ministry, he said over and over, methods change, but principles never do. And so I've always remembered that. And I think today, especially as we have to change and tweak our methods, it's very apropos we talk about this.
Yeah. And so today what we want to do is we've got 6 ideas. We actually have a number of thoughts for this, but we're just going to break down 6 of our kind of favorite ideas that we want to use to share with you to do virtual ministry. And, you know, most likely a lot of you are already doing this kind of thing. And although this is spurred on by the coronavirus, really these are things that we can do anytime, anywhere. And so, Kevin, why don't you kick us off with the first one?
Yeah, this is my favorite, of course, because small group discipleship is my favorite. So you can still do small group discipleship, obviously, through your Google Hangout. I was just talking to a staff gal who had her first virtual Bible study this week. Interesting enough, she was talking about how she was getting these little tours through each of the homes, seeing their pets, seeing the inside of their place. She said it became a much more in-depth understanding of who that individual was. And so they had 8 young middle schoolers, if you can believe it, on the call. And by the way, they had the most students they've had in a while on the call. So that was a good sign. So yeah, you can do this very easily. Set it up, send the invites out, choose a time, and there you have it.
That's great. And, you know, you can do that, Google Hangout or Zoom if you have an account for that, or a house party or Skype. There's a number of apps that allow you to do that. And you know what I love about what you said is that this leader probably has never seen the inside of these kids' houses or met their brothers and sisters, but suddenly, because of the situation we're in, because of these virtual calls, she's finding herself even getting to know them better than she would have otherwise.
Yeah, no kidding. It's great. Mark, number 2.
Number 2 is just text students for prayer requests. It's simple. Make sure you have your students' numbers in your phone and just text them. Students, especially now in these coronavirus days, but even outside of this, kids are wanting attention. They want people to care about them. And you simply sending a text to say, hey, how can I pray for you today, is enormous. In a student's life, they may not have anyone asking that question. It also I've found, can stir up a lot of great conversation.
It sounds spontaneous. It sounds very natural.
Very simple.
What I like about these ideas is that it's just way of life. Our third one is so much that way. We know that young people today are not using their phone to call anybody, right? It's always texting, it's Snapchats, it's Instagram, it's all kinds of ways in which they're communicating. What if you took the time and actually called your key disciples and had a phone conversation around discipleship? First of all, it's novel for them to get a telephone call, but it seems so natural and so organic in that sense. And so you could just say, hey, can we have a half-hour call? We want to study this book of the Bible, and just open it up and really have a good time with them, just over the phone. What I like about it is we always look for ways to make ministry casual but definite. This is one of the ways that we can see that happen.
Absolutely. The next thought I had was to engage others in ministry in the same ways. And especially, I'm thinking about college students that are back from out of town. They're in a similar situation of not knowing exactly what to do, but they might be neighbors with some of these students, or they might have relationships from when they were in high school. And so call up your students that they're your former students and ask them, hey, would you consider joining me in discipling these students? Or would you start calling this group of students to ask them how you can be praying for them this year? Or can you check in on these kids? Can you start a small group? Whatever it is, these college students may be chomping at the bit for something meaningful to do. They're gone from their campus. A lot of their regular schedule is over, but they may be right here ready to do ministry with high school students.
I can't agree with you more, Mark. I think many of our students who are in college, now are back, of course, have a history with us. They want to do ministry.
Yep.
They're comfortable. They know where the students are at. You can begin to think about how you can, even in that phone discipleship idea, you can divide up many of the students to have maybe one or two that they've adopted for these weeks ahead and just have regular touch points with. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, with all of the students now, everything's canceled. They just have so much time on their hands. And so this could be a season of the best discipleship of the whole year because kids are just available. That's one of the biggest challenges in youth ministry is students aren't available. On a season like this, they're very available. And just throw in as many spiritual resources out there as possible may be a really good move for us.
Excellent. Hey, so fifth one. This is called Slay the Virtual Giant Week.
Nice.
And the idea behind this is, what would happen if you began in your discipleship to train your students to begin to use the internet to actually create their testimony? And a lot of times at our fast break conferences, we've done that. If the outreach opportunities are limited, they have created a testimony and then they've sent that to their top 5 or top 10 lists. And that way that kind of softens the ground. But we don't want to stop there. Then choose a week where those students would take the opportunity to call or Google Hangout with those same students and actually have a chance to share their faith with them. Wouldn't that be amazing? How about the last one, Mark?
Well, the last one we've got is do a Bible reading plan together. And this is a simple idea. You are going to impact your students, but God's word impacts their hearts for eternity. And so we want to do everything we can to push God's word into the lives of our students. So there's a ton of ways you can do a Bible reading plan. You can just pick a book and start reading it together, a chapter a day, and then talk about it for 15 minutes. You can get on the Bible app, and they have a great kind of group Bible reading experience that you can do right there with the plans on the Bible app. Crew has a thrivestudies.com/crew31day for a 31-day Bible reading experience with your students. There's no end to how you can do this or the ways you can do it, but there's a good chance that your students are just laying around on their couches, bored, and don't have much structure in their day. So give them some structure. Set up a time at 10 o'clock every morning or maybe 2 o'clock every afternoon. Let's get together and read the Bible together and talk about it.
Love that idea. What I love about it is that you're tasking them with finding some good material. And the internet is so chock filled with Bible programs, with Bible studies. I think those you mentioned were excellent. If I would suggest this, and that would be that you would send your students on a Bible hunt on the internet.
I like it.
And that they would come back the next week with 3 to 5 ideas that they have found that they could share with the group. I think there's so much out there for them to gnaw on.
Kind of a Bible scavenger hunt. It'll cause them to kind of like read until they find some nugget, right? That's awesome. No, I like it.
Hey, I love these ideas, Mark. This is a new day, at least temporarily, and we're trusting God that our ministry would hit a bump. Of course, things are changing, and we have to change the methods in which we roll, but not the effectiveness. We think perhaps we could be in the season of even more fruitfulness as students have focused time. As you said, they're a little bored at home, and they're more accessible. Let's get out there and see what God can do through these 6 creative ideas.
Yeah. And so those are some of ours. And we would love to hear from you. So what are some of the ideas you have for reaching students virtually? What would you add to this list? Just write the comments in the video below and share with us, and we'll share with the rest of them. In fact, we have a resource for you. We have a document where we have about 16 and growing numbers of ideas that you can jump in and check out. And I'm going to put a link in the notes below so you can find it and learn more about how you can do ministry virtually.
Hey, this has been Kevin.
And this is Mark.
And this has been Go to the Campus with Prue.
So remember, when in doubt,
Go to the campus.